Well, hello. This is Heather for Liberty Librarian. How y'all doing? Hope you're having a good week. It's Thursday and things are kind of awesome. I have windows open in my house. It is so nice. I have to actually look and see what the temperature is. It says it's 36 degrees, so it's over freezing and it feels like a tropical zone. I opened one window for both of my cats and they're both like their faces pressed to it. It's just great. And walking back in, I mean, the snow's starting to melt, the sun's out. It's such a good day. I hope that you are all doing really well. It's just been like crazy. I was trying to, I've been so busy with work. I've been thinking, like, what am I going to do this week? I mean, like, we had a really fun show for Sweet Subversive yesterday where we had Alan Esposito on, and he talked about in Maine, they have for their county an OnlyFans site, which I think is like an amazing idea for fundraising. OnlyFans is kind of porny, sexy stuff, but people love sex, so why not have that? So I was just like, that's such a great show. I had such a fun time doing it, and I'm like, now what do I do for Liberty Librarian, right? So today I was thinking about, like how I've survived pandemic and the way that my mind works during all of this is like I've always been somebody who's constantly like reading things, constantly looking at new things, constantly moving. And during the pandemic, I've been more forced to be at home, right? I'm sure you all have. But it just seems like because of that, I'm looking at Facebook more, I'm looking at social media, I'm looking at news reports, and it makes my brain kind of melty. It's just really hard to focus. And I actually got really sad today because I read about Lady Gaga. She has these three French bulldogs. They're super cute, and she has a dog walker because she's a celebrity, and you have people do that for you. And this dog walker was walking her dogs last night, and a car pulls up, and they try to steal the dogs from him, three of them, and he puts up a fight, and you see it on TMZ. I actually saw the video, and I had to turn it off because I felt so bad for the guy. He fought, and he was yelling and trying to stop him, and he got shot 4 times, and he held on to one of the dogs as best he could. He really fought, and 2 of the dogs were stolen, and people are like, are they going to ask for, money or what? And I just think, there's enough people who have video cameras in their house. I mean, they caught this on film. They saw the car, and you could kind of see the people. They're going to find these guys. I hope the dogs are okay. Please don't kill the dogs. I know it's, and okay. And the thing is, the guy who fought them, and he held on to one of the dogs. He survived. It's a miracle. But I felt so powerless. And I actually, like, one of the first things as a librarian, I'm like, how can I help them find these guys? That's not my skill set. I don't have access to all the video cameras in Los Angeles and able to track down thieves. I think it would be a great skill to learn. And in my next life, I might have to like work on that. But I actually just felt powerless, and it reminded me of this book I just read. Let me talk about it a little bit. It's called Stop Reading the News by Rolf Dobelli. I wonder if I can have an Amazon cover for it. Let's see if I can do that. But I talk about my Blinkist thing. I get the free account, and I can like listen to books and get a little bit more information on it. Don't read the news. I think I actually have this at my library too, so I'm going to be buying it soon because it's very good. Rolf, let's see if I can find it. Books. It's not there. Where is it? Must be doing the book title wrong. It's called Stop Reading the News. Did I write Don't Read the News? Yeah, that's it. Stop reading the news. There it is. Ralph DeBelly. It came out in last November 2020, and it is a really cool book idea. I'm going to just share that so you can see the title. Let's see. Share screen. There it is. So, Stop Reading the News and a manifesto for happier, calmer, wiser life. And it made me think about the whole thing with Lady Gaga's dogs getting stolen. And it's everywhere in the news, right? Because that's the way our minds work. And we all get obsessed with really terrible things like things that we can't control. And I am guilty of that. I mean, my background is like my undergraduate was in journalism, and I love the news. I get so into it, and I want to know the most, and I want to like find more. And somebody asked me a question, oh, I can look that up. I can find it. But there is something to be said, and in this book, he talks about how it wears us all down. Oh, hi, John. Wow. Hey, friend. How you doing? I love your picture. You look beautiful. I feel like sometimes the things that wear you down are the things that you feel like you have the least amount of control on. So I can do nothing about helping Lady Gaga find her dogs. I don't even know Lady Gaga. And honestly, Lady Gaga is in another country right now, and she probably is really sad about her dogs, but I don't know her. And I don't know why I'm emotionally invested in this. And it made me think today, like, why is this a thing for me? And I love animals. So I know there's like little buttons that you push on people. And then like, if it's a cat story, of course I'm going to read it. If it's a dog story, I'll read it. I love cats and dogs. Oh, I am well. I am very well. Like when the sun comes out on a day like today, it makes things a lot better. I'm much happier. Oh, here comes my cat. He's like, I heard you talking about cats. Oh, yeah. So I thought about the fact that we all get like in a whirlwind, like sucked into news. And the book talks about how this powerlessness is actually really unhealthy for us. And he talks about quitting the news, and he had even suggested a 30-day like turn off all your news apps, quit reading the newspaper, like just clean slate. And if somebody wants to bring up stuff, they can tell you about it in person, but don't go there. And this is the same kind of thing you hear from people when they're talking about like quitting Facebook or taking a break from social media. And I think it's the same idea that there's a powerlessness, and you get like kind of obsessive. You're like, what now? Is there new news? You're like, is there an update? And you get so pulled into it, it's not really good for you. So I'm not going to suggest that you go that far, because I mean, you're watching a show where we talk about the news. But what I thought was really good is maybe set the time, like this is my hour for news stuff. I'm going to look at all the news of the day, and I'm going to think about it, maybe talk to somebody about it. And then after that hour, I'm done. Just limit it, maybe half an hour, whatever is like an acceptable amount of time. And what he had said that actually meant the most to me, and it pushed my button, was that, the people that actually spend the time on news, not like regular news, like the bits, the sensational, because they're trying to sell newspapers, they're trying to sell magazines, they're trying to sell advertisements on social media. This is why they do it. I don't make any money doing this, by the way. I don't even have a Patreon. I'm just like, I'm doing this for fun. But the people that actually do the most research are the ones that write about one subject area. So they spend all this time and they focus on it. And I think the thing that we're missing in our world right now is focus. So if you are interested in news, go to the best news. Go to if you want to like look at economics, go like to The Economist, or go, don't be looking at USA Today and think that you're going to know everything about news, because they're looking at the broadest audience, the least offensive. And, honestly, I went to journalism school, and I know it's all about getting your shit on time, and so good journalists try, um, but a lot of them, they don't try that hard, or they use the same stuff that somebody else did, and they just go, oh, that's good enough, they looked into it. And I think that's a bunch of shit. So I really want you to, at least if you're interested in one form of news, look for the best resource you can and look at that and spend time doing it, and make that your thing. Because they talked about in the book that like Einstein wasn't like spending all day. I mean, if they had Facebook, can you imagine Einstein just looking at Facebook all day and not making giant discoveries? Think of what you could do if you spent less time on Facebook, or less time, just being upset by a pandemic news story again. And I was at work, and I actually like turned it on the news it was on Facebook, and our governor came up, and I just got mad, and I was like, why did I even care? I can read the blurb about it later, but you get sucked in the moment, because they make you feel like, well, it's happening right now, and if you aren't aware of it and totally understand everything that's going on with the news, you are a lesser person. And I get a lot of that, especially like I work, in academics, and people like to, one up each other. Like, how much do you know? Does it matter? And he had a good question in his book. It's like, think about news right now, how important it feels to you right now. Are you going to remember it in 5 years? Do you remember news that happened in 5 years ago? I mean, can you even think of something that happened? Think back to, okay, February 2016. Can you remember that? Do you remember news that was going on? I mean, you'd have to look it up probably, right? And then you go, oh yeah, I do remember. But is it that important that you can go, oh gosh? I mean, there's hardly any of those moments where you're just like, well, I remember 9/11 because that was a huge day, and I remember exactly what was happening. But other news, unless it's something earth-shaking, you probably don't. And it's okay. In another week, we might not even remember that Lady Gaga's dogs were stolen, right? So I think that's one of the things that I worry about. I worry about it for all of us, is that the way our world is, it's kind of warping our brains a little bit. So spend a little more time on the things that you love, a little less time on trivial crap. And people will say, well, it's not trivial because it's news and it's important, and you want to be, like able to participate in democracy. And I'm like, yeah, but how did people do it before having social media, news, constant news cycle? They would talk to each other. So maybe instead of just spending all your time online, as things open up more, talk to people about things that you're interested in. Find people to discuss issues with. Do more on the local level. Participate. You will change your own life, and I think it's worth it. And I will stop that rant right there. But I've just been thinking so hard about it today that I can see myself getting stuck by it, like getting obsessed by things. And we don't need to do that. We don't. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about, I keep reading comments, is okay, let me stop right there. Binging, and that's part of where the news thing came from, is that when you get stuck in this pandemic world, whatever, you just kind of turn your brain off all the time. And I was trying to describe to someone the other day how hard it is when you just don't have any motivation. And I was trying really hard to find the article that I saw about writers. And right now, you'd think that in the past, people who write books and write stories and screenplays, whatnot, artists, they die for time alone so they can work and have time to write. So we do. We do, but it's not the way we thought it would be. It's not like, everybody is, and, a lot of people are stuck at home with their kids, their spouses, their roommates, whatever, and it's really hard to be creative in this, and nothing's happening. What do you write about when there's nothing happening? It's kind of sad. So I had, especially last year in the beginning of it, I spent a lot of time binging TV shows on Netflix, on Hulu, on Amazon Prime, and I don't feel like I really enjoyed it as much as I normally did. I love watching shows. I always do. But, it just feels like kind of empty. And in the past, I feel like there were so many more shows I was interested in before the pandemic. But there's shows I like. The Boys. Really enjoyed that on Amazon. I just got done with a lot of crime stuff. I think I'm in a really dark mood this year, and I watched that the one where the girl she's at the hotel. She's a Canadian girl. She's at the hotel and she dies, and they find her body like a month later in the water tanks on the roof of the hotel. The Cecil Hotel. It was a murder. Maybe she's suicide. Maybe it's a haunted place. I mean, everybody has their own opinions on it. And there's a poor guy in it that actually, he's like a death metal singer, and he had actually stayed there, and they, all the conspiracy theory people were saying he did it. He murdered her because he had such gruesome music. But the thing was, he was in another country doing work, and he had receipts, and he wasn't there unless he's a super genius and figured it out. But he didn't seem like it. But people stalked him, like that stuff's crazy. Oh, my poor cat's sneezing. I think she's coming down with something, guys. I hate it. I don't know if she's got allergies or she's getting a cold, but when cats get a cold, they can't tell you how they feel, and that's sad. So anyway, I just hope that there's so many shows like Bridgerton we watched. I kind of make my husband watch like the WandaVision stuff that's on Disney, and we watch The Mandalorian. Oh, I love those shows. And I'm super excited about the Falcon and Winter Soldier show that's coming out next month. And then in June, they announced that's when Loki's coming out. And there's a bunch of shows that I love. I love them. And, I'm a super nerdy geek. And John knows costumes and that sort of thing. It's one of the things I really enjoy, is because you get to have the fantasy world of like your favorite shows, and there's things that I love about, like, especially fantasy and sci-fi, getting to wear really cool costumes and trying to figure out how to make them. And I'm not that talented. I mean, I'm not a big sewer or anything, but how to make a costume without a lot of money and to make it look pretty good so you don't feel stupid wearing it in public. So I go to a thing called Dragon Con like every Labor Day weekend, and we didn't get to go last year, which is a bummer. But I really miss like geeky stuff. I miss getting to let my freak flag fly a little, and I think that's why so many of us are binging our shows so hard right now, is that we really, really want to have some fantasy world that we can retreat into when things are dark and gloomy. So, I'm trying to, I think that things are going to start turning around. I mean, like my parents got their COVID shot, their first COVID shot today. And I'm thinking, well, if enough people have them, do you think everything will open up? Maybe. I'm hopeful, because I really do miss all the fun stuff. I mean, yesterday, I think my Facebook feed comes up and it said that we went to see Kiss 1 year ago yesterday. And that concert was the last big concert I went to, and I saw, like, some live music, throughout the year where it was outdoors and far away. Oh my gosh, Kara, right? More geek stuff. Need it. I need it to be a whole person again. And I'm really hopeful maybe this fall will be the tipping point where we can start getting back to bigger stuff. They may have a cap on how many people can attend and maybe raise the prices. I would pay money to go. And I would be so careful and I would be so grateful to get to do more stuff. And I miss seeing all of our friends from around the country, and you only get to see them about once a year, and I cherish it, you know? But, so we're filling that hole with binging, and I'm actually really excited because I heard that the Game of Thrones stuff is good. They're gonna have a prequel series finally. I don't know if they're ever gonna come out with the Lord of the Rings series that they talked about, but they had casts listed, so I'm sure they're gonna do it sometime. So, and I always Kara, I always hope that they'll come out with a Dread sequel or a TV series. They talked about Carl Urban doing a Dread TV series in Australia, so I really want that too. There's so many shows that I would like to see made, and at least Disney is doing a little bit of that wish fulfillment on my part because I love Loki, and actually I really want to see more of these side characters that kind of got the shit end of the deal with all of that. Hi, Oscar. I am doing really well today. We were just talking about missing things like nerdy stuff and your favorite things, and trying to fill your life with more happy stuff, not getting obsessed with stupid news things like Lady Gaga's dogs going missing and things that you can't control. Things that you can control, like seeing your friends, maybe having an outdoor get together or something where you're safely distanced, like they say. They knock that into your head a million times, but not focusing on the dark, bad stuff that they love to talk about over and over again. And I mean, I work in a field where a lot of people believe, and they're hardcore believers about that safety is more important than happiness. And I think there's got to be balance, right? We can be safe, we can be happy, we can do it all. But I think things are going to turn around pretty soon. I think I know a lot of people don't really like the vaccines, and I don't think they're a cure-all because I think there'll be another disease, whatever. But if this is what it takes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a good kid, and I will participate, and I will be healthy and all of that, because I want to go see shows again. I want to go see movies. I mean, we have some movies, but they're all like old movies. I want to go to restaurants that are good. I want restaurants to succeed. I want people to have the jobs. I want to do it. So yes, I'm like super cheerleader Heather today. And totally unrelated, Carol will get a kick out of this, is like we were talking to those to the people in Maine who were doing an OnlyFans site, and I was like, man, if I lose my job, what would I do? I'm like, maybe I could do an OnlyFans where I just eat. Nothing sexy. There's nothing sexy about it, but I love food, and I'm like Cookie Monster, so I'm sure people would pay money to see that. But I'm really hopeful that things turn around. You're going to stay in the mountains. That's probably smart. That's, I live out kind of in the middle of nowhere too. I mean, we're in a college town, but it's like in the middle of nowhere. So it's pretty safe. If I really felt like society was going to fall apart, there's places in the country that I know that we could go to, but really, why? Let's just sit, get our chairs out in our yard, get beer, watch the world burn, just see it. Because, I feel like this show is going to be all over the place. I do have some news, but I'm not going to go there yet. One of the shows that I actually saw on Hulu that I actually recommend because it's so weird. It's called Save Yourselves. And I don't know if I mentioned it here before. I don't know if I mentioned it to anybody. Oh, you're real positive too? 18 months if we get vaccine straight, and that'll be positive. I know. I try not to be negative about it. It's been easy to be negative, and I can get real dark, and I can show lots of facts about why things aren't going to work. But I'm going to just lean on being positive right now. But anyway, Save Yourselves on Hulu is, and I think it might be on other channels too, but I saw it on Hulu, and it's about these millennials and the fact that they are worthless and, and nice people, really nice. But like they talked about how the dinosaurs went extinct and maybe like and why it happened and what they would do if like things went bad. And none of them really thought about it. They're not prepared. Almost none of them had any skills if society fell apart, which is what we have in our world. Like most of the people here can't do shit. They can't. Like, could you grow vegetables? Have you ever like do you even know how to milk a cow if you found a cow? Would you know like how to get water? How to cook things, stuff like that. Oh, North Georgia, all secure. Yes. And I think North Georgia. Yeah, if you are unaffected, I feel like that's really good. I live in Minnesota, and it shouldn't be as affected as we are, but everyone is making it very complicated here. So I think we'll be one of the last places to be back to normal, honestly. But I'm going to still try to make it as normal as possible. Damn it. But, okay. So this Save Yourselves, without ruining the plot, there's an alien invasion, and they're very cute aliens, but still there's gross and horrible things in this movie. And it shows me you have empathy for these people at the end, but at the same time, you're like, if we're all like this, we could all just fade away. Humanity maybe is on its last hurrah. I mean, maybe that's the way it is. I don't know. I always feel like the last 10 years, we've seen so many zombie shows that are very popular, apocalypse stuff, end of days. And I think there's a human collective consciousness that is pulling that. And maybe we know something, we just can't like say that it's coming. Who knows? But I think if anything, use this time in the pandemic to learn some skills. There's a couple of our friends on Facebook that they're learning how to do blacksmithing. I'm like, that's something you can use. Okay. Like try to like think like what would be a skill that I could bring? Like if I all of a sudden got zapped into medieval times, what could I do there? Yes, you probably would speak the wrong language or in a wrong way, and they probably think you're a witch because you know things that you shouldn't. But what could you do and what could you learn now that would make it so you would be a good participant in society? And maybe you should do that because who the hell knows? I mean, we may come out of this pandemic stuff and it's nothing. It may be nothing. I read an article and it was almost going to feature it in the news part, but I decided that it was too grim and yet I probably am talking more grim now. But they had said that, are they going to memorialize COVID? Are they going to memorialize the pandemic? And they said when they look back at the Spanish flu of 1918, they said that everyone stopped remembering it. They stopped talking about it. There's hardly any art that mentioned it. I mean, people have little things where they do, but people, when it's such a big and nebulous thing, they don't really want to even think about it. And I honestly, I don't want to think about it. They had an announcement for the new Spider-Man movie that's going to be coming out. I think it's something from home, far from home, no going home, something like that. And on the little board, they talked about stay at home, and people like, hell no. I think people, can you plunder? That is actually a good skill. You could be a pirate. Pirating is a thing. I think that You have to be really tough to be a good plunderer, though, because people are going to be preparing for plunderers. I'd think, especially if the first time you get plundered, you'd be like, that shit ain't happening twice. So the toughest people can be the best plunderers. But if you're not a tough person, then you need to think about home defense and protecting yourself, setting up a good perimeter, making sure people can't get in, maybe traps. I mean, I watch enough zombie movies and I'm like, yeah, you gotta get a good setup. Keep it so you can get in and out, but they can't get in easily. And that is a big deal. So yeah, I think it's really a smart thing to at least look at skills. I have a whole set of books that like talk about how to prep basically. But this is back from like the 70s. Like my mom got these like God, what is it called? It's a Reader's Digest series on Back to Basics. Back to Basics is the title, and it shows how like all the basics of setting up a homestead, like churning butter and planting, and how to have plants around your house to block wind and to maximize wind. And they had like windmills and water turbines. I mean, have something like that in your life so you can go, okay, I've read this, I know it, I've never really done it, but at least I can lean on my knowledge enough so maybe I can survive. Try that. Wow, I'm all over the place today. This is going to be the weirdest show ever. So I hope that helps you. I think I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk about some intellectual freedom news. I saw a really disturbing article today, and I had no idea this existed before today. And it was in a site called the Technology Review. It was from last week on the 12th, 2 weeks ago, basically. And what it was you know what deepfakes are, right? Like where they have Tom Cruise's face on somebody else. You know, like they have Sebastian Stan being Luke Skywalker. You know, they'll plot their faces and go, hey, that works pretty well. Or because I'm a Star Wars fan, they had Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things on top of her face on Carrie Fisher. And it actually worked. You look at it and go, oh, I could see that. But, you know, there's two different people and their different attitudes and places in life. But Carrie Fisher was really young when she filmed as Princess Leia in the first Star Wars movie. So you never know. So anyway, deepfakes, that's what that is, right? When you see them and they're kind of fun. The shit that's going down is, this is really hard to say it. And I feel like this is porn week or something from both of our shows, but people are using deepfake to put real women who are not in the porn industry, their faces onto the faces of porn actresses. So it looks like they're doing porn. And so the deepfake porn is ruining people's lives because somebody go, hey, I saw this movie with you in it. Oh, you know, okay, I got to pause for a second. I have a water wheel in my yard, solar power. Oh my gosh, Oscar, you're so prepared. I love it. That is awesome. Okay, stop. I know, I feel like I'm like squirrel. Today I'm all over the place. That's why I probably need to not look at the news so much. But anyway, so there's a woman that was in this article, and she said there were naked photos of her on a porn site, and a friend had told her about it. And never in her life had she taken or shared intimate photos. So she's like, oh, there's probably just somebody that looks like me. And she went and looked, and she felt frightened and humiliated because it looked just like her. And she's a poet and a broadcaster from the UK. And she is a victim of the fake pornography campaign. So there are people out there that are taking women's images from, you know, all over and putting their faces on porn. And it's really scary, guys. She got so humiliated by this and shocked that that they took them from her private social media accounts, including a Facebook profile she deleted, and they upload these non-intimate images into the generator, and they they put her face into violent pornographic photos. So some of them are bad and you're like, it's obviously fake, but some of them, as the technology gets better, it gets a little bit scarier and more real looking. So media is generating and manipulating this by AI, and it gets just out of control. So I'd never heard of this before. And she said it made her feel powerless, like you're being put in your place, punished for being a woman with a public voice of any kind. That's the best way I can describe it. It's saying, look, we can always do this to you. So it's a new kind of bullying on the internet, and this is also happening to men too. It is not a new thing. The newest part of it is that it's happening to everyday people. I'd heard of it happening to celebrities, like Britney Spears. Somebody has done that to her, and and you kind of go, oh, celebrities, whatever. People are going to do that crap because they're obsessed. But can you imagine, like, regular everyday person finding out that somebody is harassing them and using their image in porn videos? Ugh. It's freaking horrific, actually. And so she and people believe it because it's like the whole fake news thing. I've had so many times where I've talked to students and gone, just because you read on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Just because you see a video now on the internet doesn't mean that's what it's really happening. It could be faked. So you need to look into this. Like, does it make sense that they would do it? And eventually it's going to get so good that you're going to have a hard time telling what's real and what's not. And that's the problem, is people will believe it. This woman said she started doubting everyone. She's like, what, did somebody take a picture of me? I mean, like, how did this happen? Did my ex-husband film me or drug me? And she goes, it's not him. He didn't do it. It's just that the deepfakes are so good now that it's kind of crazy. There's a company called Sensity AI, a research company that's tracked online deepfake videos since December of 2018. And they consistently found between 90 and 50% of them are non-consensual porn. So I had no idea that people are spending this much time, first of all, making that kind of porn and using it on people that had no intention of ever doing porn. So they say it's a violence against women issue, but I think it's more like bullying and harassment. And these things happen to everyone, but the target is most constantly women, and it's really horrific. So, and it's making you look like you did something that you never would have done. And that's really horrible. And I mean, like, if it was a deep fake of me eating crab legs, I'd be like, yeah, that might have been me. And then I'm like, oh, that wasn't me. How'd they make that happen? But if it was porn stuff, you'd be like, I would never do that. What? And I know that it's just starting out, and I've never really seen articles about this before. I heard about it with celebrity stuff, like I said, but real people. But people are getting access to the technology in ways they never had before. So the AI makes it so easy to put faces on celebrities or otherwise. Put a normal person on a celebrity in a movie, and it's so easy. And other people could be next. So what we need to do is to realize that having these tools, it's neat and it's fun. But when somebody uses it to try to put control on a victim or to blackmail people or do stuff like that, here's my cat, it can be truly horrible. And I can't imagine what these people go through. There's a Telegram bot in 2020. Here's my cat going right in front of my face. The code for stripping the clothes off photos of women continue in this open source repository. So what they do is they take photos from Telegram, and then they just make you look naked. And it's over 100,000 victims in that, including underage girls. So they are doing this to everyone. And so just be aware. It seems like it's really innocent for just space swapping and fun stuff like that. And I like that. I know they had a big thing here. I gotta pull this away from the cat before he rips it up. That it can be fun, but a lot of times they use the data from it. And even when people participated in that, the age one to make you look older, the one to make you look like a man if you're a woman, or a woman if you're a man, they're using that information somewhere. And these free apps aren't free. They're using facial recognition, scanning, and so your face is being saved somewhere. So not only are people who are being harassed in these revenge porn kind of things, it can be people who are having identities stolen in other ways. So I want you to know, deepfake. This is important because they said in this article that 80% of the people today don't even know what a deepfake is. And I'm sure that if you're watching the show, you know what a deepfake is. But a lot of people don't. And in 46 of the US states, there's a ban on revenge porn, but only Virginia and California include faked and deepfake media. So hopefully that will include and grow, but revenge porn is really horrible and horrific. It's a way of ruining someone's life forever, basically. And there's only a smattering of existing civil and criminal laws for specific situations. It's possible to use IP law for some of that, for copyrighted photos, but they are finding that they have to really maneuver in these criminal cases on how to deal with it. So in the UK, they're using harassment law. So there's a lot of ways to deal with it. My cat's still there, isn't he? I felt him. So such abuses can fall through the cracks because it's really hard to track down who did it. It's, like some of it is non-consensual, but, there's a lot of courts have always said, well, how did they get your naked picture? How did they get this? Did you allow them to? And so a lot of times it's proving your innocence over and over when you are the victim. So it's really horrible. And I'd never really seen much about it. It is one of a big obstacle. And I'm not anti-porn at all. I'm not anti that. I think consenting adults can do what they want. It's just not consenting. Oh my gosh, total vagabonds. I didn't even see you come in. Hi. Oh yeah. Here, Oscar. That's kind of fun. Swinging Richards have animated male penises. And it is upsetting. Like if you found somebody, like if, anybody could have that done, and it would break your heart, And I think that like as women, we kind of steel ourselves to that because, we get pictures sent to us and you're just like, I never asked for this. And over, it just, it wears you down. But the first time anything like that would happen to you, people go, did you do that? Did you post your penis on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever? You're sharing it everywhere. Like, you're a perv. And I didn't do that. I would never do that, But again, this is what that the deepfake stuff, it makes people question if you would ever do that. And I'd never heard that they were doing this to normal, everyday people. So this woman that had this happen in the UK, her name was Helen Mort. And she is, my cat's meowing because I have the window open. She is working with a group of people to try to do change.org petition to try to help put a stop to these deepfake abuses and the kind of bullying and harassment that's going on to normal people, and it's happening more and more. So if someone says, hey, like this coworker has porn, don't just jump to the assumption that maybe they did porn. And really, who cares? I honestly don't care what you do. But the stigma of it could be, is it a deepfake? Also, if you did porn, you can now probably say it's a deepfake. I would never do porn. So think. So anyway, yeah, break up with some people and she makes a bad man. Oh yeah, I mean, there's so many bad things. And be a male dancer. It might actually be fun though, but only if it's something you wanted, right? Yes, and I just don't understand it. I don't understand that why people would do this to each other. And it is we live in an amazing time that you can put your face on anything, right? It's just gross though. So that was my horrifying news of the day that I actually was like part of why I said earlier that sometimes you go down these rabbit holes and you wish you hadn't. But I think being informed in this is a good thing to understand that there are abuses that come with the technology. And I'm very wary of facial recognition software anyway, because I see a lot of loopholes into the software that somebody could abuse. So someday, like, no one will leave the house and you can be a star of a movie and everyone will think you did it. And I think that there's something to be said for actually having your real face in front of a camera instead of just like reusing content. Like, hey, I don't need to do porn. I just put my face on another person, let them go have the sex, and I'll look like I am a porn star. I wonder how many celebrities are gonna, like those fake internet celebrities that want to like get their 15 minutes of fame will do that and then go, hey, that was this other movie. She didn't do porn. Judgy shit. So anyway, oh, my cat's playing. So that was my big news thing of the day. And I think there's a couple other, oh my God, I just ran out of time because I've been yapping. Have you heard in Australia that Facebook went nuclear there, banning all news posts in Australia? I mean, I feel like this is about news today is the constant theme. So they had a long-running battle with the Australian government over news content. So Facebook's like, well, screw you guys. We're going to just ban all news content on there. They're working at it right now because now Australia can no longer make posts that link to news articles either in the Australian media or internationally. So people in social media in Australia can't like really find out news through social media. And I think that's not going to last very long because it's kind of bunk. But Google did the same thing to Australia because I think the news organizations there are really trying to grip their control on everything. One of the things I wanted to talk about was, and I think this is good. Another news thing is University of Chicago students started their own kind of conservative newspaper promoting conservative speech because there's so much cancel culture stuff in a lot of college campuses. And I thought it was kind of neat seeing students starting a newspaper again, because I feel like there's been a period of time where I think students kind of got away with it, away from it, not away with it. They lost interest in news, doing actual real journalism and doing that newspaper writing. So these two girls, Audrey Unverfurth and Evita Duffy, they started a paper called the Chicago Thinker, and this is featured in Fox News. So I'm not as excited about like super conservative media, but I like that there are students that are looking at having different kinds of news and different and more trying to think outside the box. And they said this is a new journal from students who refuse to be canceled, because I'm really sick of cancel culture stuff. And I think that we need to have representation of all ideas. So her quote says, self-censorship on campus has really become a sickness. I've experienced cancel culture, so has Audrey and other people we know. And one point this summer we said, we are done. And so they started their newspaper. They launched a website newspaper, so it's not printed, but you know how many papers really are anymore. And they wanted to give people the courage to actually say what they think in the classroom, which is supposed to be the one place you're supposed to think for yourself and have open debate. Totally cool. What I'm hoping, I mean, I haven't read their articles. I'm really picky about news resources, obviously, but I do think that more students should be doing that instead of just thinking about like, I'm going to get YouTube famous and like do all these makeup posts and stuff and like fluffy do some hard-hitting news for your community. Do things like talk about issues that you think that are being looked at from only one point of view. Do that. I'm proud to hear that students are doing it. I may not totally agree with all their viewpoints, but hell yeah, start a freaking newspaper. Do it. I think it's amazing. So I kind of love it. Anyway, I'm kind of out of steam because it's been a long day, but I think there are very serious issues out there, and I think that we need more places where we can talk and feel like we're secure. We can have conversations, and I don't expect everyone who watches my show to agree with me 100% because I go out in all these different directions sometimes, but have a place where we can talk. I don't ever want it to be like we only have one news channel and we only have one point of view, because we're America yet, and we have this need to like share our viewpoints and to do what's right and to try to figure everything out. And if we don't talk to each other about stuff, things get bad. And I'm really proud that we have this social media, these tools that we can actually talk to each other. We could talk every single day, but sometimes just letting things percolate a little bit. That's why I try to share some news. I had more news. I always have way more news than I ever cover each week. Like I said before, American Library Association Intellectual Freedom News site is awesome. And if you like the stuff I talk about, half the stuff I talk about, including the deepfake porn, is actually, I think, was that on there? I don't know. Like, I think that was one of them. But I try to get a little bit from there, and then I do look at news. So the book I read is a little bit. I'm going to have a hard time cutting myself cold turkey from news. I mean, I won't have so much to talk about if I do that. But I'm going to try to really focus on good news, solid news, and focus on that. So I hope you guys have a really great week. And I had such a fun time talking to you. It was really nice, especially Oscar and Total Vagabonds. I love getting to see you guys. It's just the best. And thank you, John, for joining us today. I really like seeing you. And it's just fun getting to spend time with my friends. I like getting to see you all each week. And I hope you have a very good week. And I am like amazed that my window is still open and my cats are in it and loving it. Get a little fresh air. It'll be good for all of us. And next thing you know, we'll be in spring, and then this pandemic will start ending, right? Maybe. So, guys, have a great week. I love getting to see you. Take care, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye, guys. Mwah.